Welcome to Hate to Wait, where two lifelong dieters talk about their current struggles with weight loss. Diets, we've tried them all. We are not doctors. We don't play them on TV or on this podcast. Join our journey because we're all in this together.
Hello, Emily. How are you
John.
doing?
How are you today?
Okay. Grumpy.
Grumpy John.
I'm a few of the dwarfs. Grumpy, sleepy,
It's allergy season, so we're all a little sneezy.
little sneezy. Yes. Oh, and then Jennifer says, "Look how long your hair is."
I know. We're on the live stream. I thought I wear my hair down a lot on the show. I guess not. But yeah, it's
I don't
down.
remember.
It's gotten very long.
Yeah. My hair is growing back in. I stopped shaving it. I don't know why. I really enjoyed the shaving part of it, but now it's like I got like fuzzy peach fuzz, and I kind of like that too.
I feel like if I were a guy, I would always want the peach fuzz because it's just so nice to touch. Like I would always just cut the peach fuzz, I think.
So now I got to try to figure out how just to keep the peach fuzz. I think I like it. I don't know. Who knows? But anyhow, so what's going on with you this week?
Well, I'm in maintenance mode.
Yes.
Weirdly not successfully, and in a good way. I mean, I never want to complain that I'm losing weight.
Oh.
But it's like I don't know how to maintain. It's like...
I would say that you are not concentrating on loss, right?
Right, yeah.
But you're maintaining your lifestyle, and you're not feeling deprived, and you're doing your thing, and you're still reducing, so that's fine.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I'm still doing intermittent fasting. I have my fasting window, which is 6 hours every day. And before I decided to go into maintenance mode, I was just plateauing. And I was kind of happy in that plateau. I'm like, I don't know why I'm making myself feel guilty when I'm not that upset to be where I am. Like, I'm pretty happy to be here. I actually can see the progress and I can feel it. And I'm not 100% comfortable in my body, but I'm a lot more. I'm probably a good chunk much more comfortable with my body than I have been. And it's nice. It's one of the first times probably in my entire life where I don't go out. Well, considering the times, of course I don't go out in public and worry about what I look like. So there's that. But there's also just the way I'm sitting, even in front of my husband or my kids or other people. I would be sitting and be very concerned. I'd be listening to them, but I'd also be concerned about God, what do I look like? They're staring at me a lot. Are they looking at my fat? Is their fat sticking out? They've got to be looking at my fat. Nobody just stares at you while they talk this much. No, people just talk. They're not. And I was so self-conscious for so long, and it's weird getting into a headspace where I'm not. Where I put on clothes, I know they fit. I don't have to worry about going into my closet or into my drawers and picking up a shirt and being like, oh, this won't fit. I'll just put it back in my drawer. Now it's like, I have too many clothes to choose from. No, I don't. And it's weird. It's very weird to get used to. And I'm also realizing that the mindset stuff is still there. All the eating mindset stuff, the binge eating, it's still stuff that I'm always going to have to work on. And I think maintenance mode for me is really just maintaining that mindset of, why am I eating? What am I feeling? Why am I in the kitchen? What happened that triggered me to walk into the kitchen and open the fridge and not even question if I was hungry, just know that I'm looking for comfort. So that's something that's interesting to kind of track. And the weight loss thing, another thing about losing weight while in maintenance. Last week I had Shark Week, so I knew I was up, but I'm also down a lot more. So we talked about our weigh-in at the end of the show. And, we've kind of transitioned the show a bit more to be less about that weigh-in and less, we don't put pressure on ourselves to lose weight every week. I mean, I guess not pressure. Pressure isn't the right word. What word do I want? It's not pressure. It's just we want to be healthy. That's really what it is. We both want to be healthy. We're not looking at the scale as tracking our success. Like, we are not successful because of the scale. The scale is just a nice kind of byproduct.
Yeah, well, we've been trained since birth.
Yeah.
That the scale is the end all be all of weight loss and health. And for a while there, again, I'm back to just getting on the scale Monday because I know I have to come on here Thursday.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Monday is like a nice little, like, refresher for me.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, now, see, but it's good and bad. So now let's say, all right, let's go last week. Last week I got on the scale and I was up another 5 pounds. And I said, I am not going up another 5 pounds. I can't. So then I start doing silly stuff, like I stop eating and so it's all about getting those 4-5 pounds off before Thursday. And then after Thursday, I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden it's like, da, 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 and I'm eating again. So this week I got on the scale and I was surprised I was down. So then I found myself like, well, I'm down, I got a little room here. So the scale for me is an issue because it's all about the scale. And it shouldn't be. I understand that the scale kind of keeps me on track. It is a unit of measurement
tool. It's a tool.
Unit of measurement tool, right? But it's driving behavior that I don't like. It's like last week, Monday, I got on the scale and I was like, that's it. We're done eating until Thursday. We're not eating anything. And then I got the scale this Monday and I was like, look at that. We can eat. And that's not good. It's not a good way to be. In other words, I should have got on the scale. Okay, I can understand doing it last week and saying, okay, you're out of control. Let's rein it back in.
And that's the thing. That's what I like using the scale for, as far as like, oh, okay, you know what? I have let myself slip a little. It's one of those things that makes me look back at the past few days to be like, what happened there? But
it's the weekend. It's like the weekend is almost we give ourselves, and again, what's the weekend now? The weekend is just 2 days that end in Y. Let's just like everything, nothing changes.
I know. Well, for me, it does. My husband has Fridays and Saturdays off, so those are technically my weekend. Actually, those aren't my weekends because I end up using him so that I can get more work done, like all the leftover work I didn't do for the rest of the day. So I don't really have a weekend.
Yeah.
Get like half days here and there, but
some of my busiest work days are Saturday and Sunday. And that's because everybody wants their stuff on Monday. That's a whole other story. But and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to get this to you late. Can I still have it by Monday? And now the answer is no. Sorry, you can have it Tuesday because you're a day late. But you can't have it Monday because I'm done. I'm done. And then I had clients that go to every other week. The problem was they're all in the same week. So one week.
I had a few of those where I was like, how do I get the every other weeks like all scheduled on that same week?
And then they would do the same thing to me because we are the last. They used all the time up for the project in doing whatever they did. Okay.
And for those who are new to the show, John and I are both podcast editors. So we get files, we get podcasts from other people, and we edit them, make them sound good, add the intros and outros, and send them back to them or upload them to be published. So when we're talking about weekly schedules and being the last line of defense, really, and being the last person in charge of a podcast, most of this stuff to both of us and most podcast editors, it's very last minute.
Yeah, they've used all the time up, but they still want to make their deadline. So now it's all the pressure's on us.
Yeah.
And I'm to the point now where I'm like, no, it's the next day.
I used to love that challenge, and now I'm just like, oh,
yeah, I'm over it. So yeah, and they're like, can I pay you more? And I'm like, no, because I don't have the time. There is not physically enough time in the day to get that done.
Sleep. I want to sleep. You cannot pay me to give up my sleep. It's not fair.
Right. And guess what happened? Imagine what happened after I did that a couple weeks in a row. The audio came in on time.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. See, don't reward bad behavior.
We reward good behavior here.
Yeah, and honestly...
Doo-doo.
Where is it? I got it here. Hold on.
Doo-doo.
honestly, it is almost the same thing with me. Like, don't reward bad behavior. Just because I got on the scale Monday and I had a little room to fiddle with, that shouldn't have affected me. That should have been, okay, good, you're on pace. If we keep this up, we should have a good week.
You know what I'm thinking? How do we reward ourselves without food? For like food, like, and that's the thing, because I'm the same way. I'll be down. Like, I was down today, and the first thing I did was ask my husband, hey, what are we having for lunch? Because I was excited, because he's talking about making pizza, and pizza for me is a bottomless pit.
Right. And then today, I have a cousin that lives about an hour and a half away, and he has a barbecue truck, and he makes really, really good barbecue. So my other cousin says, hey, I'm making a run up there today. I said, well, I can't go. He goes, you want to go with me? And I said, I would love to, but I can't. I got too much to do here. And he says, okay, well, call up and get an order. So then I'm hungry. So then I look, and he's got pulled pork and brisket and, baby back ribs. And he makes the most amazing potato salad. And you can get it by the quart. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want a quart of brisket. I want a quart of pulled pork. I want a quart of potato salad. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, whoa, back it down.
Did you look around and go, hey, does anybody else want anything?
Right. Then he makes his own cornbread. So it's like, I want cornbread, and all that. And
it sounds so good. It sounds like one of those things where, like, you just want a little piece of everything to be happy.
Yeah. Send me some extra sauce. And I was like,
more
okay.
restaurants should just do with a sample platter. Just offer me a sample platter of 5 or 6 different things on your menu. I'm like, that would make me so happy.
But I know that as soon as he got here, I would make a big plate of brisket and half the potato salad and all that, and I would be suffocated instead. I can't. I won't be able to control myself with that.
Did you make up a word? Suffocated?
Suffocated.
I like it.
Suffocated. That's goes with Thanksgiving full. How full are you? I'm Thanksgiving full. Look, Stephanie in the thing says cornbread. Yeah,
cornbread.
I mean, he makes amazing cornbread. It's like, it's not dry. It's moist. It's sweet.
Yeah, that's the kind, because cornbread is so hit or miss.
Right.
It's either terrible and dry and
tasteless and dry.
Yeah.
Or it's amazingly sweet and moist, and you're like, where's the butter?
I went to a picnic and there was cornbread, but they made it with creamed corn, I think. So there was still a little corn. It was like corn chunks. It was so good. It was like the most delicious cornbread. I just wanted it for everything.
It's because that's how his is. Yeah. And it's like a little loaf, right? So you could cut it like down here. Not John. What John does is John cuts it like long ways, like a roll. John cuts the whole loaf like a roll. And then John puts the stuff on that. And with the potato salad, he also makes really good coleslaw. So here's the sandwich. It's cornbread, it's the brisket, it's the coleslaw, and then the cornbread.
Oh my gosh, the cornbread is wow.
I go into a coma after I get done with that. It's so good. Ooh, jalapeno cornbread. I've never thought of that. Sounds pretty good.
Stephanie in the chat room has suggests jalapeno cornbread. That sounds great. And hello to Claire. She's a new listener. She's been coming into the Facebook group, and we want to say hi. Hi, Claire. Hi, new listeners. Everyone who's come and joined us and listened to us. We really appreciate it. And we're sorry about the late episodes. They are coming, folks. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate it.
There was another John problem. Because another John problem. Okay, so remember when I said, I'm getting organized? Mm-hmm. So I started organizing everything work-wise, podcasting-wise. That's what I was working on. And meanwhile, I'm focused on that, but I'm not focused on anything else. If I focus on the weight loss, it seems like the podcasting stuff gets thrown to the side. If I focus on the podcasting stuff, it's the weight loss. Like for the first time in a long time, I went and looked into my steps, which I used to look at every day, and my steps are way, way down. Also, one of the issues I've been having is, remember I have that lymphedema in my legs, and one of the legs started leaking again. So I'm back to wrapping the legs and squishing. And then I also talked to my doctor, so he said double up on the whooshy pill. Sorry, Sam, I didn't tell you that.
Okay, quick pause. Go call Sam. Go tell her that. Be like, hey, I just got to tell you this because I didn't tell Emily yet, but I'm about to.
Yeah,
Okay,
because she gets, because she's concerned.
she
That's the
is.
word.
No,
She's concerned.
you have been, actually, you celebrated your 2-year anniversary.
Yes, the 18th of May. We've been dating for 2 years. She's an amazing woman. She lives in Canada. I live in here. Thanks to President Trump and Prime Minister Trudeau, we're not allowed to see each other. We are like Romeo and Juliet.
Oh,
Right.
just no suicide.
No. I forgot about the ending. So
Romeo and Juliet, what a lovely love story.
Till the end.
Get to the end.
Right. When this started, I called the doctor and I said, "Are you guys taking appointments?" And they said, "No." And I said, "Okay, well, this is the story." And then they said, "Why don't you try doubling up on the pill?" And I said, "Okay," which I've done for the past 2 days.
Have you noticed, does it like re-whooshify yourself? Does it make you whoosh more?
Well, I didn't take it this morning because I was afraid. But
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I had to start taking potassium again too because it takes your electric, like I'm on I got vitamins I'm taking now
Yeah.
because I heard vitamin D is if you have a vitamin D deficiency, and I'm always having issues with vitamin D, and I was out of vitamin D pills. So I went and I got some from Amazon. I'm taking vitamin C, vitamin D, plus a multivitamin, plus potassium, plus I'm taking this whooshy pill. When I got on the scale today, I'll tell you that's, I think I found out why I was gaining so much weight. So I talked to the doctor, and then he said, yeah, start going back to the wrap, more compression, more, and then we were talking about something. I forget what else we were talking. Oh, and double up on the whooshy pill for right now. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know if you can tell, but my voice feels dry. It sounds dry.
Yeah, it sounds
got
a
like a
little lower
little-
than it usually is.
It also has that little, what do they call, vocal fry in it, and it drives me insane. And I've only been doing it for 2 days, and I didn't say anything to Samantha because I wanted to see if it was working first before I said anything.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. Now, it's only one leg, and I jumped on it quick, so hopefully this won't be that big of a deal. And then I also cut all the carbs out. No more pasta, no more bread. I'm on eggs, chicken, vegetables, and sweet potatoes. That's
What
it.
made you decide to do that?
I have a feeling that the carbohydrates, the pasta and everything, first of all, it made my joints ache, and it made me feel swollen, like I had a reaction to it. Almost like when you have a allergic reaction to something, things swell. You have that inflammation.
Yeah, it
attack.
sounds like inflammation when you talked about your joints hurting. I've heard that from people with carbs and gluten.
Right.
Yeah.
So I stopped that past 2 days, doubled up on the whooshy pill. I got up this morning. I would say my pain's down 50% in my joints.
Good.
And we'll see where this goes. And he says, if you feel like I'm supposed to call him next week. He says, you do this for a week, see where we are, and we'll maybe cut back on it. I said, okay, so we'll do that. So that's where I'm at right now. Oh, also, I was able to add some fruit. So right now, seedless watermelons are in. They're amazing. So I'm doing that. And it seems like we recorded 3 weeks ago to me. Like, that's how long it seems. It's only been a week. So there's a lot of stuff been going on.
Yeah, that's true. I had trouble today thinking, what happened this week? Because a week's gone by and a lot has happened, but I couldn't place it time-wise as far as, did this happen 2 weeks ago or 2 days ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. Right now, I'm exhausted. While I was waiting for you, I was falling asleep sitting here in a chair.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I think when I'm done here, I might go take a little nappy nap for like an hour or two, and then get up and start my day. But it's been a week. It's been a week.
Yeah.
I kind of I'm sorry, I think I cut in the middle of your week too.
I didn't have much. That's the thing about maintenance mode is it's like, yep, we're cooking. I do notice that with intermittent fasting, I am very aware of what my body does crave when I'm not walking to the kitchen aimlessly. But when I am actually sitting down and I'm like, I feel weird, I feel off. And now it feels more like I just kind of sit there and I'm like, okay, have I had vegetables? That's always my first question. what was the last vegetable I ate? Because that is one of my problems is I don't have a problem losing weight, but I want to do it with food that's actually good for me and good for my body and healthy. And in the past, when I dieted, I would eat my crap, but in very small portions to fit into a calorie window. And so now with intermittent fasting, where you're not necessarily counting calories the way I do it, I don't count calories. It's more like, now I could eat whatever I want, as much as I want. And if I were thinking in terms of future Emily and what would make her happy, she would want me to eat vegetables. She would want me to eat healthy. As much as present Emily really just wants cake for every meal, no, let's not do that. So, yeah, veggies.
Oh, and then I blame Dave Jackson for this, just so you know. I'm going to start right now. Dave Jackson started talking about doing yoga.
Oh, yeah, he's doing Diamond Dallas Page yoga, DDP yoga. That is awesome. I know so many guys who got into yoga because of DDP yoga.
Well, you chalk up to another guy.
Yeah!
Okay.
Do you have to do the Diamond Dallas Page, like the hand thing when you're...
I'm only on a couple poses. But Dave, he also has a podcast called Building a Better Dave. And if you know, I love listening to Dave because he's funny. And my classic joke was I've been doing yoga for years. I even made up my own pose. It's a fat guy putting on socks. So, because you're like... and you're stretching. Anyhow, I'm trying to do a couple poses, and then you get into this thing, and I'm doing them near a wall because, I need some place to steady, and I have a chair to the other side of me, so I don't go down. It's like, a fat man down. So far I haven't fallen, but a couple times I was close. And they say if you don't fall, you're not doing it right. So I was doing that.
That's a terrible way to look at it. No, don't repeat that. You shouldn't be getting hurt. Be careful. Everyone be careful. We don't want to go to the hospital.
Right. Well, we fall on a mat. I mean, it's not that far. I mean, it's just just a little tumble.
Yeah, I know. But like, see, some people will take that and really go nuts and strain things. And if you don't have somebody there who's trained in yoga, you might be doing a pose wrong for years before knowing. Like, that's the thing. I do yoga every day, but every so often I do go to a yoga studio and make sure that like, hey, can you just watch me while I'm doing this one pose that I do every single day and make sure I'm doing it right. And every so often they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing it that way. Like that will strain your hamstrings or whatever.
Right. There's this one where you put your knee forward and you reach down and you kind of try to grab your ankle and then your one leg's back and you try to lift your arm up like this.
That's a lot. No.
Yeah. No, I was like, at one time I was like, I crashed into the wall. I thought I was going to go right through it.
Oh my goodness.
So I record with two podcasters, Elsie Escobar and Jessica Kupferman. And that podcast is She Podcast. It's about podcasting. Elsie is a yogi. Mm-hmm. So I started talking to her about, this is before the show. It's not in the show. And we started talking about yoga. And I said to her, because Dave Jackson had asked her, what's a good yoga mat to get? And I go, do we really need a yoga mat at first? I mean, and she's like, John, it would be like a podcaster saying to you, do you really need a microphone?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
I actually used that. I used my yoga mat and buying more yoga stuff for a podcasting lesson on Instagram like years ago. And I was like, all right, guys, I'm getting serious about yoga. So I'm actually going to go and buy the clothes. If you are serious about podcasting, you should go and buy the mic. Oh, I was so proud of that analogy. Oh.
Well, then how about this one? So right now in my yoga journey, I'm in the anchor stage of my yoga journey.
Oh, podcasters, we know what that means. Anchor is the free podcasting host that we try to tell our clients not to use.
Right.
But if they need to, it's a good place to start.
Jennifer says her husband had to go to the ER for dislocating his hip. Doing yoga?
Oh, no.
Was this doing yoga? Don't say that to me.
John, here's the thing with yoga. Just remember, gently, gently. That's what I have to tell myself.
But see, guys aren't gently. Guys are like, let's do it.
I know. That's the thing. And that's why people get injured doing yoga. Like, you just have to stretch it a little bit more. Just hold the pose a little bit
Little bit
longer.
more.
Because there are
Right.
days where I'm like so amped up and I'm ready to get into warrior pose and feel so strong and stuff like that. And then there are days where I'm like, no, I can't push myself because I don't want to hurt myself and like ruin myself for the rest of the day.
Yeah, there's this one thing where, and also there's part of this yoga. Again, I've looked up other yoga stuff because I need to find a beginner to become a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in other words, like they're saying, sit in a chair and take your one leg and put it up on your knee. Somebody get a jack and a strap. And so I can jack my leg up to get it on. And there's just no way. So then I try to get it to a point where,
Are there modified poses? I'm wondering in this video, because that's one thing is like one of the first videos I had, they had 3 people doing yoga, and there was one who was a complete beginner that you could watch in the background, and then the main person, and then the advanced person. And I actually loved doing that yoga because I could see where I was supposed to be.
yeah,
And
I can just tell I am inflexible physically as I am mentally. I need that on a t-shirt. I'm as inflexible physically.
No, what you need on a
as
t-shirt
mentally.
is I'm not as flexible yet.
Yet.
Right. It does happen. There are poses that I do now every single day that I hated and I struggled with and you know what? I made myself do them. Chair pose. Have you done chair pose where you're sitting down on a chair, but there's no chair there. You're just kind of standing and your arms are up and there's no chair there.
Right. I do that against the wall. I try. Yes.
I hated that so much. And you know what? I do it every day. And as soon as I have the thought in my head of, oh, I hate this, I push myself even farther. And now I'm so proud of how long I can hold this pose, even though I'm still like, fucking hate this pose.
Well, that one, I'm not even all the way into the chair position yet. I'm like 3/4 of the way down, and I can't hold it long. Because my knees, you ought to hear my knees. My knees sound like the beginning of Hot for Teacher.
Yeah.
So I can't, it takes, so again, and it's been not even a week. I've done it twice. Chair pose, crow pose. I'm going to start a new pose. It's going to be Grumpy Podcaster. I'll do the Grumpy Podcaster.
You know what? Let's change the conversation. What's your favorite pose? Do you have a pose you like?
No, not at all. Not one.
No one that like makes you feel good when you stretch and you hear like the cracks of your back and you're just like,
No.
Oh, and releasing or relaxing or anything?
No, because honestly, right now I'm terrified as I'm doing this because I'm afraid that I'm going to either go over, break a chair, crash into the wall, dislocate a hip or a shoulder. I think if I had someone here spotting me, I might take a little bit more.
Do you have a mirror or anything you could watch yourself?
I do.
That actually helps with spotting. And especially if you're doing it with a video, you can compare better.
Yeah.
Because I noticed a lot with my arms. I think my arms are doing one thing and they are not.
I put the mirror against the door so I can have the wall. Mm-hmm. So I can do this. And then the problem is there's pictures on the wall. The other day I hit the wall so hard the pictures fell down on top of me. So I had to put all the pictures back up again. Sorry, Samantha. I didn't tell you about this.
Does she watch the video or does she listen to the podcast? Because this podcast will be out like...
This is what happens to me. Lisa listens and watches. Then Lisa dimes me out to Samantha. And then Samantha then yells at me because I don't tell her these things. I should say, did you listen to it? No, Lisa told me. Well, then you can't talk to me about it because you didn't listen. If you're going to listen, you can yell at me. But if you're not listening, you can't yell. Yeah, Lisa dimes me out all the time. And anything I do, she listens to every show that I do, she listens to. And then if I say something and I forget to tell Samantha, she dimes me out. It's horrible. But honestly, there's some things that I come in here and I sit down and this is the dome of truth here. There's some things that I say that I'm not talking about this. We get in here, we start talking, and I'm like, screw it, I'm just saying it.
I was actually I've been reading a lot about journaling actually, and because I've been doing it for so long and I've never figured out why I like it so much, aside from how it makes me feel, like it makes me feel really good. But I wanted to know why. I always want to dig into why. Why does it make me feel good? How dare I feel good and not know why it makes me feel good? I can't just be happy. I have to know why. So I've been digging into journaling, and it was really interesting reading about these studies of people journaling. And we've talked about on this show how this is kind of like your journal. For me, I write things out. I like writing. That's how I like to express myself. I like to be very thoughtful with what I put on paper and what I write and use the words wisely. You like to talk. Your way of communicating and figuring things out is to talk. And they found in studies that when people journal, when they go to therapy, saying the thoughts out loud that they have, putting it into words, the actual brain function of putting those thoughts into words and either seeing them on a piece of paper or saying them out loud. And in your case, as the editor of this podcast, you also get to listen to it again. So it basically is like seeing your own words in front of you, but for you, it's hearing your own words coming back to you. And you get perspective and you get clarity through it. And it helps. It really does help.
And then I also listen to the show at like 1.7 speed just to make sure that, I didn't make a mistake or, how the show sounds and how, could I do something differently? I always listen back to myself. That's one of the things doing my own podcast. Mm-hmm. It's more right now of a monologue podcast. And I found out that I have to write things out because as I start talking, I forget what I'm going to say. I miss points. So I have like bullet points down and then I'll lock up. See here.
You're working off somebody here. That's the thing. That's the difference. And you're very good at working off people because you have that comedy background and you're great at improv. So sometimes I will ask you a question and sort of frame it in a different way because I know that you could talk more about it from a different angle. And it's really interesting.
There are times when I'm doing it by myself. I listen back and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like the sound of this. But when I'm in a podcast with you and we're talking back and forth, it just seems more natural. To me, doing a monologue podcast is very unnatural. I listen to Dave. Dave does monologue podcasts all the time. And he sounds so natural. It's like he's sitting there talking to me. And I don't have that. And I don't know why. And even if when I try working on it, it still sounds dry and tight.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe I just got to keep practicing.
Well, one of the things I realized that I'm kind of coming to terms with as far as my own podcast that's kind of been on indefinite hiatus is I didn't know who I was talking to with that podcast. I tell my clients all the time, you have to have an ideal listener. You have to have an ideal listener. And I had like a vague idea of my ideal listener for that podcast, but really what that show essentially was, and it took me so long to figure it out and why it didn't make me happy anymore, was it was my creative expression. It was my own creative expression. I made that show for me, like essentially. And then as soon as it turned into something that didn't feel as much me anymore, I didn't like it.
The show I want a co-host. I want someone that's funny that we can play back and forth off of. That's who I want. And I can't find
I would
them.
be your co-host if I could change my name and you would modulate my voice. I have too many opinions. I don't actually want to put my name on.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the problem. See, I would like to have, because I know you and I, we could do a show.
We could. Oh, yeah. We could. I don't want that side of me to come out either because it gets me all riled up. I'm not a great mom when I get all riled up about the news. No.
I know that, but and not even that. It's just the way you play off of. Again,
yeah.
To me, I think that what makes life bearable is when you take the nonsense that's going on in the world and be able to poke fun at it and make it funny and see the humor in it, even when it's so serious.
For me, I just get pissed off at everybody being an idiot. And I'm like, nope, don't want to engage. They're all dumbasses. Nope. I do the Red Foreman of just like, dumbass. And then I walk away.
Yeah, I find I'm a Kevin now. Like, you know how there's the Karens of the internet? I've become a Kevin of the internet. I go charging into the, battle.
You ask to see a manager.
I don't know.
Your governor pisses you off and you ask to see the manager.
Yes. I charge into, I see someone talking something and I find it extremely stupid. And then I go in and start asking questions. And then they get mad at me because I they realize what they're saying. And then when I ask the questions, they get mad at me and then they insult me. And then the gloves are off.
And then they insult your spelling and your grammar because that's the way to win an argument.
Yes.
If you have nothing else to do, if you have nothing else to contribute to an argument, call out their spelling. Do it.
There's nothing better than going into the comments of a tweet and seeing someone say, "You're an idiot, YOUR." And then you just comment on underneath, you just type in "your," and then dash grammar matters. And then they just, but I love that. I love poking the bear. I don't mind a good old fashioned heated debate. I like them. I do.
I feel like you have to look at who you're debating with first to see if they're worth getting into a debate with. Because that's the thing. Like, I want to fight with people, but I will look at them and be like, are you actually smart enough to get into a battle of the wits with me?
And that's the thing I loved about Deuce was we would get in there, battle, debate and everything, and heated debates. And then afterwards we'd turn off the mic and he'd say, "You want to go get something to eat?" And yeah, we'd go and we talk and we joke around. And it never got, in other words, it never seemed to get personal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you can't do that on the internet because then when they don't have anything else, they'll search your profile and find out stuff about you and be like, well, this thing you did 3 years ago, how can you say this now? Blah, 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 blah.
They don't even have to go that far. With me, I'm an easy target. Fat, old.
But here's the thing. People have way too much time and it pisses me off that I'm like, oh, do something better with your time. Do something that's contributing to the world.
I took the Facebook Messenger, Twitter, and Instagram apps off my phone.
I need to get rid of Twitter. Twitter makes me angry, and it makes me angry for like 24 hours when I really read deeply into Twitter. I really have to go back to my rule of, hey, if you open up an app, as soon as you get pissed off, you need to close the app.
Well, I wouldn't even be able to open Facebook up.
I can't. I open Facebook up, it takes me like, I look at my notifications.
Yes.
And then a lot of the time, I will just bounce out and I'll hang out in this group. And the nice thing is about the Hate to Wait discussion group is I get the notifications for the group. And you guys can get notifications too, by the way. And so anytime somebody posts, I see that in my notifications and I get to go over and hang out in a group that makes me happy and makes me smile and makes me laugh.
Yes. Speaking of our group, you think it's time for some Winning Wednesdays?
I think so.
Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday.
Light week.
Yeah, pretty light week.
Light week with Winning Wednesdays. This could be quick. All right, Ingrid hit almost 50,000 steps. Wow. Remember when I told you my daughter bought a Fitbit? She walks at Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Works at Amazon. So she keeps it on when she's at work. The other day, 32 flights of steps and 50,000 steps, 32 flights of stairs and 50,000 steps in a day. One day.
Wow.
That's amazing. But she says they move over there. They get it. So, and she's in great shape. So there you go.
Claire, new listener, she says, I found you. I can't explain how much listening to the back catalog has helped me through some down days this week and made me laugh at the ridiculousness that is the weight loss battle. Just as I'm being faced with the fact I'm running out of time to get healthy before it does long-lasting damage. Perfect timing. I'm hopeful for the future and no longer feel alone. Thank you both. Oh my God.
That's why I do what I do. That's why
That's why we do this.
Exactly.
That right there.
Yes. When I say I'm not going to say anything, it's for people like Claire that are younger than me, that if I wish I would have listened to and got on track, because if you wait too long, then it's too hard to come back, and then you start, things on your body start giving out, and it makes it even harder to do. So thank you, Claire, for listening. I really appreciate it. And you validate the reason why I do this. So thanks. Yeah. Rochelle says, I just completed a full week of drinking 60 plus ounces of water every day. Also made my workouts more interesting by adding a heart rate monitor. Ooh. I'm so glad I bought one.
That's cool. And Monica says, my exercise streak continues. Lost 2 pounds last week. Yay!
There you go.
Oh, you know what else? Now that I'm looking at other posts. So in our group, we have the Winning Wednesday post. Every week on Wednesdays, a post goes up. You can put your wins in there and we read them on our show. And I also put up a post. I'm thinking of changing up some of the posts that we have. Actually, I'm going to keep most of them, all of them the same pretty much. We have Winning Wednesday. We have Fitness Friday, where you can come into the group and post screenshots of your Fitbit or pictures of your workouts, anything like that we want to see. We want to get inspired by that. And then we have the Sunday goal post where you make a goal for the week. And I also asked if anybody had any suggestions or if we wanted to change them up. And Michael said a couple of ideas. He has Monday motivation. I love that, where everybody can post motivational quotes or stories to help everyone on the road to better health. And he also came up with Thankful Thursday, a way to show gratitude for the positive things in our lives. And I love that. I love that.
That's right up your woo-woo.
It sure is. Gratitude is the attitude, folks.
Gratitude is the
Look at
attitude.
that. See, I got certified as a life coach, and now this is my life.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot you're a certified life coach now.
I know. I finally took some time and I went through some of the courses that I had building up. One of them was a certified life coach or a life coach certification course that I got on a crazy sale because it popped up and I was like, oh my gosh, it's $25. Yeah. And then, so when you sign up for it, there's more. They get me with like, do you want to add on the mindfulness course for only $17 more? And I was like, yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
Give me the pieces of paper that says my woo is valid. Yes.
I'm not even sorry.
I'm not. I am so happy I'm doing this. And as I was talking about, it was one of the things that made me really look at journaling because I was basically life coaching myself. Journaling was me life coaching myself. I didn't realize it, but it was. And now getting the background and getting the why it worked, it's starting to become a little bit more effective. Like this morning, I went into like a long journal entry about my mom because she triggered me yesterday. For folks who've listened to this show for a while, we know my mom is something. She is a character. She triggers me. A lot of the stuff in my life is mom related. And so I journaled it all out. I was crying. I went through all the emotions and then I took a bath and I came down here and I'm like, okay. All right, let's get on with our lives. Let's have fun.
I have a Billy Joel song going through my head. She's got a way of triggering me.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it is.
Well, that song specifically, he's talking about this woman who like is a little bit of a manipulator. That song's very accurate. Very, very accurate. And you know what's funny? My mom, I didn't realize this. She has a huge fear of me writing a memoir about my life. And I'm like, thank God you never listen to podcasts.
I think all mothers have that. My mom used to, okay. So my mom, I would say stuff in school and stuff, and she would get, teacher would call. I went to Catholic school for the first 5, grade 1 through 5, and I got caught cursing in the playground at lunchtime during recess. And the nun dragged me in and she whacked me in the knuckles with a ruler and she called my mom. And when she asked me, she goes, "Why do you curse?" I said, "Well, my mom curses." And she says, "Well, you don't have to curse because she does." And I said to her, "My mom says I would make the Pope curse." That's what I said. My mom says I would make the Pope curse. I said that to a nun. So, of course, my mom got a phone call. And then when I got home, I got it again.
But here's the thing. You got, that's one of the things that with having kids is like you got in trouble for that, but you were just repeating behavior that you saw.
Yeah, well, guess what? Never did it again. Well,
yeah, that's the thing. And that's how you learn.
That's what I say to my kids. The problem with you kids is you don't know how to curse or when to curse. You know how, you don't know when. See, when I was a kid, we learned when to curse around our friends. We wouldn't do it around a parent or a teacher. You know why? Because we found out at 5 years old, don't do that. Did I lose you there? Or?
No, it's just interesting. It's fun to think about. You know what? One thing I wrote down, I meant to ask you about it, and you were talking about it. You were talking about the balance of health and podcasting, and we kind of just walked past it. But is there anything that you're thinking you're going to change or work on, or are you kind of just going to focus on one and put one on the back burner? Like, what's your plan for that?
Honestly, I was thinking about that just before we came on here. So I will lay out what I'm thinking. The reason that I edit podcast, is to pay for my podcasting habit. Okay, so that's what it started out for. That's why I edited podcasts. And then what happened was I started editing podcasts, and it became a thing where I guess I got pretty good at it. My issue is I'm a soft sell. So in other words, I was a podcaster, a struggling podcaster that had to learn how to podcast but didn't have a lot of money. So I'm a soft sell. Someone's in trouble. Oh, well, I'll do this. I'll do that. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm cutting that out. In other words, I podcast to make money to podcast.
Or you edit to make money to podcast?
Yes, I edit that. I'm sorry. I edit podcasts to make money so I can podcast.
I was going to say, anybody listening, don't podcast to make money.
Now, I podcast, edit, so I can make money to pay for my podcasting habit. Okay? It's almost like selling drugs to finance your drug habit. Kind of the same line. If that doesn't fall into that category, I have to cut it out of my life. And then the other thing is I have clients that are very needy and cost me more time than it's worth, and they're going to have to find another editor.
I like that you're setting those boundaries.
Yes. And again, I don't know if we talked to this before. We weren't recording this show when we did this, but sometimes things happen and they get delayed, but then by the time I get the stuff, I don't get that delay. So in other words, they give it to me late, but I still have to get it done on time. So it puts a lot of pressure on me. So I'm sitting here, from 9 o'clock in the morning until sometimes midnight. And then I look at my steps for that day and it's 300. And that's from going to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So, that is what's going to change. And I have to sit down and write everything out and see where the time leaks are and where I'm wasting most of my time for not me, for somebody else. And then I'm going to start reclaiming some of me time back. And that's the time where I get to yoga, because I don't really yoga that much because I don't have that much time, and here's the other thing with yoga. I feel stupid doing it because I'm new at it, but I say, okay, I'm at least going to do this and this and see how it works out. And then I'm going to add to it. Mm-hmm. The same way when I said I was going to start a podcast, and the reason I wasn't doing it was because I was afraid of it. And I said, well, now I have to do it because I don't want to be afraid of it anymore. And when you do a podcast and you start a new podcast, especially something that's supposed to be funny or edgy or whatever, you get rusty when you don't do it for a while. And I'm rusty right now in that area. Here, it's different. We're having a conversation. We have people that are listening to us, but it's just basically you and I having a conversation about our weeks. We bring our listeners in, for different things. But when yoga right now to me is something that scares me, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to look stupid. But I have a feeling that just like anything else, if I let myself get into my head, I'll stop doing it. And I can't do that. I just have to keep setting it up. So before I sat down here to record here, I was sitting on the couch and saying, okay, what can I get rid of so I can put more time into the health side of this? And when I get done here, the paper and pencil will come out, and I'm jotting stuff down, and then I'm getting some X's, and then I'll start writing some emails.
I like what Claire said in the chat. She says, put the mask on yourself before helping others, like being on a plane.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something happens to me, I used to say this all the time, because people used to think that I have to do this because no one else can do this. You ever work with somebody like, oh, I can't take it. I'm sick. I can't take a day off, or, I can't go to
No, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me all the time. I never took days off because I hated giving my work to other people, and then I would overwork myself and I still wouldn't get it done.
Yes. Yeah. But when someone else got sick, they would dump that load on you, and then you would take it to your work and their work, right?
Happily, by the way. I
Exactly.
would happily take their work. Like in like, oh, I can help? Hooray! I love being helpful. People love a helpful person. Please let me please you. I love it. I love people pleasing.
But the basic truth, the hard facts of this is that if I walked out of here today and got hit by a bus and was no longer part of this planet, in this world, they would all find a podcast editor and not miss an episode by next week.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I doing here? Who am I pleasing?
Are you a people pleaser? You are.
I'm such a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. It's like we need a people pleaser recovery program.
I did it today. My daughter just said to me, you know what? We have a chance. We're not going down tomorrow. We're going down today. And now she just dumped like 2 shows on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have my shows. So where's that time coming from?
Yeah.
Where is that happening? And I went, okay, I understand. You can go down the shore. And I'm sitting here like, now I've got 2 more shows to do. Is that fair? No. But it's the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Podcasting doesn't know what day it is.
Yeah. Most people in their basements podcasting. Like my husband and I both forgot it was Memorial Day and until he was given a day off, and he was like, wait, why?
Yeah.
We didn't know what to do with it.
That show goes out. It has to be out on Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
Although, you know what I did? As he looks both ways to see who's listening. You know what I did last week when someone sent me their audio? I tried to get it done and give it to them early because it was, last Sunday. Was it last Sunday or what? When was Mother's Day? 2 weeks.
Sunday.
Okay.
2 Sundays ago.
2 Sundays ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave it to me and late. And I was like, you know what? No, she's getting it on Mother's Day. She's going to have to review this on Mother's Day.
Hmm.
And she did. I didn't hear a peep. But I was trying to get it to her Saturday so she'd give it back to me so she could have her Mother's Day off. I'm like, why am I killing myself
Yeah.
when I got it late?
I tell my clients up front, I'm like, if you want it on a certain day, it will be there at 11:59 p.m. I am a last minute Lucy. Don't try to push me to tell me the day before you need it.
Right.
There you go. That's what you need to do. And I tell them I'm honest and upfront about it. And I'm like, look, my mind works with deadlines, but my mind also looks at that deadline and thinks, that'll take me 3 hours. I will start at 8:59 p.m.
Yeah. And then I have clients that record on that day and they want it the next day. And I'm like, okay, that's not a problem as long as I can schedule that.
Yeah.
So I know that I've blocked that out. So I know when I get that audio, it has to be done in a certain amount of time. And then what I do is the other shows, I put them in as around there. But when everybody starts sending me stuff late, then those spots are, so then there's like sometimes where I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to do from 2 until 4. So now I'm going to go do some wash or do this other stuff or.
And it's also weird having that free time for us because it's like, I feel like I should be doing something. I should be editing. Ugh. And we need breaks.
Yeah, I can't see who just said that. Did I walk in?
Teresa, did I walk into a conversation about saying no?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I was one of those people that said they would never be able to say no. I'm learning how to do that now. It's tough. I don't like disappointing people.
I thought about that with food, actually. There are many times where I've eaten because it's been the socially acceptable thing to do, and I'm not hungry, but I don't want to say no. And here's the thing. I actually really loved my ex-husband's family. They were warm and loving and kind, and they were also Italian and amazing cooks. So when I walked in, it wasn't, are you hungry? It's here.
Sit
Do you
down.
want seconds? And I loved it. I enjoyed it so much.
I made you a plate. That's
Yeah.
what I don't know about here. It's like, honey, sit down, honey. I made you a plate. All right. So here's something about people pleasers. And tell me if I'm off on this because I've thought about this before, but I've never said this out loud. Being overweight all your life, one of the things is you think you can make up for this by being a people pleaser, by not saying no to people, by when people say to you, hey, can you do this? They say, okay, well, this is how I make friends because I'm doing, they know. Yes. Right?
Yep. Because we can't make friends because we're fat. So we
Right.
have to make friends because we're really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the beautiful skinny people, they say no all the time.
Yeah.
And but doesn't matter to them because people are always over there.
But they're so pretty.
But they're so pretty, so it doesn't matter.
I think the same thing, and I'm noticing that now as I'm losing weight and I'm actually liking how I look in pictures. I'm actually thinking to myself, oh, I can do that because I'm pretty now. And I'm like, that's not a good thought. Nope. Where's this? And it's one of those things, those red flags that'll pop up in your mind, and you have to stop and be like, who is saying this? Who put this into my head? What voice is this? This isn't like rational Emily voice. This is like past Emily or traumatized Emily or 11-year-old Emily who's still thinking these thoughts sometimes.
Yeah, because if I'm not nice or they think I'm not nice, then I won't have a friend.
They won't like me, and they'll also call me fat. That's what
right.
I would also worry about, is I would worry that like if I'm not nice to them, they'll make fun of me and they will call me fat to my face, and that will hurt. You're not nice. You are. Oh, the fear of being called a fat bitch. Huge. Big fear. Big fear. Because those are like two things that women do not. You could call me a cunt. That's fine. I can even say the word just fine. But you cannot call me a fat. Like that hurts. Calling me a fat bitch. Like a cunt, fine. Cunts have like these power. Like you hear that word and you're like, oh, she is empowered then. If somebody's calling her that, she is empowered. Are you saving a clip of me saying cunt?
First of all, no, I wouldn't do that.
Also, I'm sorry. I know that word offends a lot of people, but for me, for me, that word, I read a book called Cunt, and it was all about empowering because of that word. So I have no problem saying it, actually.
Teresa, this is quote of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, I love the word because it's so powerful. It's just when you say it, it has that whole, and it's one of my favorite words, honestly.
It's a very satisfying word to say. The k sound, the t sound, the unt. Yeah.
And I always said, just not to offend anybody, that's just an acronym.
And what's funny is I never say it to somebody or about somebody. I just want to say cunt. Just
and the acronym is can't understand normal thinking.
Yeah, it did get blue fast. I'm sorry, Claire.
Sorry.
See, the acronym for me is always like, see you next Tuesday.
But see, that doesn't, that drives me crazy. That drives me crazy because CU is YOU. So it would be CY, and right?
Correcting my spelling, John.
Does that make me All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry this got very blue. This is what happens. At the end of the episode, I get punchier because I'm finally comfortable. I'm like in my bubble of comfort. I love the chat. I love your reaction too. I kind of love shocking you sometimes because I feel like people have this image, this persona of me that I do put out online. And like, I'm not very open with the blue stuff, but like in the background,
I know.
There are actually a lot of the times when I'm writing and I'm actually passionate, I do the thing that I heard from writing is every time you want to write fucking, and then an editor will take it out so that your statement is actually a lot more powerful. Like when you say, I am very angry, it's not as powerful as when somebody just says, I'm angry, right?
Ah.
Yeah.
I got it.
So I would change it to, I am fucking angry. And then, an editor or me takes it out. And then the sentence is really, I am angry. And like, boom. That's more powerful than adding the very or extremely.
Well, I'm just thinking about
swearing is totally allowed, everybody.
I'm just thinking about when Dave Jackson listens to this. Because I know there's certain people you don't like to use that kind of language around. I
would feel more comfortable using that in front of Dave Jackson only because I know Daniel J. Lewis doesn't listen. Like if he listened, I'd be like that. Thank God he doesn't have to,
lose any weight.
I know. I'm thinking of just like, thank goodness he's skinny. He doesn't have to hear me say cunt. And I'm like, that's not a thought process normal people have. What is that?
That is too funny. Oh my God. You know what we haven't done? We haven't done a weigh-in yet.
No, we haven't.
All right. Let's did I hit the music for the weigh-in? I don't think I did.
No.
Here we go. No, that's not it.
I like that weigh-in music. Sounds like my order's ready at the deli.
Hey, weigh-in. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, now Now is the time for the moment you have all been waiting for. It's time for The Weigh-In.
And I'm realizing we didn't really mention who these people were. We were talking about Dave Jackson, by the way, one of our friends, another podcaster. We talked about building a better Dave. He also does logical weight loss. And Daniel J. Lewis is another podcaster friend of ours. I look at him as a mentor. So sometimes when I do things on a podcast that would make him cringe, I always feel a little bad. Like I'm disappointing my dad. And I think he's like 2 months older than me.
Yes, because Daniel does not use any foul language. No, not at all.
He gave me a 4-star review because I had swearing in my podcast.
Yes. He stopped listening to mine. Okay. So episode 98, I get to go first. I'm down 7 pounds.
Wow.
I think that's the doubling up of the whooshy pill.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Yes. Oh, do I get one? Where's my...
Where's your doo-doo?
But I'm still up. But 7 pounds is, it's not bad.
That's great. You're down.
Yes, I'm
You're down. It's not, I'm still up. It's, I'm down this week.
Right. Yeah, but
Period.
Okay. You're correct. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make a positive into a negative. But
yeah.
Okay, so I'll take the win.
We do that a lot. We really backtrack our progress and our successes. And the same thing when we're, I guess when we don't have a success, I guess we backtrack and we blame ourselves too. But okay, so I am down 5 pounds this week.
What?
Yeah, 2 of that Shark Week. The other 3, I think.
Well, again, I think sometimes we just plateau.
Yeah, I know. We plateau and then we stop thinking about it and then.
Yeah, but see plateau and before. You would plateau and you'd be like, oh, well, screw it. And you would just go back to what you were doing and then you would start to gain. This time you plateaued and you just kept doing what you normally do. Mm-hmm. And then your plateau broke and then boom, down you started going. You went down again. That's fantastic. That's amazing. 5 pounds for you in a week is an amazing drop. I think that's your biggest 1 week drop ever.
Not for me. I think there have been weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Because I always think back to the first week of IF where I lost 8 pounds and it was like miracle week. And I was like, this is it. This is the one. No, there was 1 week when we were first starting, I was down 6 pounds, but I was up 5 the week before. The thing is, a lot of it has to do with Shark Week. And Shark Week, by the way, for new listeners, this is the week every month where Emily gets her period and her weight goes up. And we lovingly refer to it as Shark Week.
Yes.
And so we always take that into account as far as weight gain, weight loss, because it's important if you are using the scale as a measurement tool to take everything into account that's been happening, not just I'm on the scale, oh God, I've gained weight because I'm a terrible person. It's like, no, I've gained weight because my body does this every single month. It's fine. It'll go down again.
Wow.
We had a good week. We had great weeks, John.
Double-digit weight loss. That doesn't happen too often.
No, it's true.
So if you want to join the Hate to Weight Facebook group, it's very easy to do. Just go to hatetoweight.com/Facebook. We love to have you here. We have a lot of fun. There's support in there. There's no shaming. We do IF and I do low carb and people do Weight Watchers and other things. It's not about what you're doing. It's just that you're doing it.
We just want support. We want everyone to be supportive of one another and their choices. And everyone in the group is so nice and kind. I love it.
And it is not driven by the scale. In other words, you shouldn't be worried about if you're losing so much a week or whatever. We feel that part of the weight loss that's never really talked about is the mindset and the getting out of your own head and getting out of your own way. And that's what we do here. And we have fun.
Yeah, we do have fun.
Sometimes we
curse. I love
curse.
The memes in our group. I love when people leave the weight loss memes. Somebody left a meme of a raccoon, a giant fat raccoon getting stuck in the sewer, and it says something like, when a clown is tempting you with cake, but you're just too fat to get down, something like that.
Well, I mean, I saw that thing that they're having, I think it's down in Florida, where they have a 6-foot round table that people stand, or it's a 3-foot round table.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can't be you can't get closer to 6 feet to each other.
Yeah, it looks like When we were kids in the 80s, and they don't have these anymore, the walkers, it looks
Yes.
like one of those, the walkers that you would put your kid in, and they would, just in a circle with some wheels on the bottom of it, and they'd walk
They'd
themselves
crash
around
around.
the house and fall down the stairs as I did. And
Yes.
in the 80s, they stopped making them.
And I said, boy, I'd like to get one of them, but I would need a bigger hole cut in the center there to get in there. I get the idea, though. I do get the idea.
I like that big of a table all around. Like, I just thought about taking it to a buffet and just filling the table and like turning myself when I needed more room and then walking my big table skirt back to where I'm going to eat it and just, turning around and eating things one at a time. That is the perfect table. I want
Right?
that for
You
Thanksgiving
swivel.
now.
You sit there, and then you can sit there. It's not you stand there. You sit in it.
Yeah, we're
You can
doing
swivel around.
tables all wrong, people. I think we
Yes,
should
we are.
actually be going into the middle of tables.
Yes, and just swivel around. It would even work great as a podcasting desk.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of you'd swivel around into different things. But
You have your
there
food
go.
station, you have your recording station.
Yes, absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us. We will be back here next week, and we'll talk to you later.
Later, waiters.